Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution Weekend Edition. Welcome to Saturday. Cheers. Oh, there's nothing like a delicious cup of coffee when it's like raining, but it's becoming spring here. We're supposed to get some thunderstorms today because that's usually what happens when your weather goes from 30 degrees to 65 degrees in a 24-hour period. So we're going to have a lot of warmth today. However, it's raining right now, and we've got, I think, two lines of thunderstorms that will be hitting our area today, which is going to be unfortunate because I'm meeting up with somebody to dump off a bunch of bulk cards today. So I'm going to talk about that bulk card sale today. I'm going to talk about spring training. I've made one move to actually finalize a trip to spring training. So talk about spring training, talk about steaks. So I celebrated the last bachelor supper. My wife was gone all week. She's actually on a plane right now, heading back to Wisconsin. At least she'll have warm weather to welcome her back from South Florida. So I decided to go big and buy a big fat 18-ounce ribeye steak, and I'm going to talk about it because I fixed this steak up, and some people didn't like the marinade on a ribeye. So I'm going to tell you why I marinated a big fat ribeye. Diego, what's up? I was just watching some of you on Bench Clear. Very cool. It's a bow morning. I love it. I love it. Low Roller, did you find any good cards in your latest Goodwill? Yes, I did. So Low Roller, I've listed maybe 15, maybe 20 cards from this latest Goodwill purchase, and I've already broke even, and that's net. Gross sales have exceeded my purchase price. Most of that was on one card. I found a very rare Marvel promo from the mid 90s that sold for $400. So that, I think my total price after tax with this lot was like $440. And then overnight, I listed some cards last night on the couch. Was watching Ken and Jason on Bean's B Card blog on their YouTube channel, and was listing some cards. I sold a Dak Prescott rated rookie for $15, which only stayed in my store for about an hour. And then there were a couple other cards that sold for like $5-10 each. So yeah, it's gonna be this lot. It was fire. It was, I had the one so far. I found the one big hit card, which I sold for $400, which mirrors the Mike Trout rookie I found in the first lot. But the rest, there's way more quantity. There's more quality in the quantity in this one. The last one I had to toss a lot of cards because they were just beat to hell. I probably out of this one threw out a few hundred cards, where the last one I threw out several thousand. So this lot was, I was joking around with somebody in DMs the other day, and I'm like, I got lucky with the Trout in the first lot. I got extremely lucky with there's boxes and boxes and boxes of recent Bowman and Bowman Chrome, like firsts. So it's just like, this one's a dream. And I joked that like now the next one is just going to be 91 Fleer. So I guess, you got to take the good with the bad, and I'll take the chance on if I can get lucky and get a third pallet. I'll take those chances. Just notice the kind of gross. Let's see. All your common cards will be 25 to 50 cent sport cards in your card show, your new Goodwill bins. So that's the thing, like with this second Goodwill lot palette, there's a ton of like 25-cent cards, and not just like commons. Like, I'm tossing Lucas and LeBrons and Steph Curry's. They're going to be in my 25-cent box. So if I can get them in for the show next weekend, I'm doing a show in Rockford, Illinois, the Northern Illinois Card Show. It's going to be some fire 25-cent card bins. And then for my show the week after on March 19th in Madison, the Madison Card Show. Why you didn't grade your Marvel cards? I've never graded a card, so I don't even I don't know. I probably should have, but I don't know. That was the biggest one. There's some other Marvel cards that are, there was a couple other Spider-Man promos that I think I did sell one for $40. And then there's some other, $5-10 cards here and there as far as Marvel. There's like two rows of like just Marvel early 90s Marvel cards. There was a couple 80s Marvel cards, but they weren't worth they were like still $5-10. But I thought, ooh, 1984 Marvel. This might be worth something, but no. What are you going to do storage wise with a third? So let's just lead into one of the three topics I have for today. What am I going to do with a storage wise with a third? Because I'm running out of storage. Like I really don't have room for another pallet, but I hopefully, fingers crossed, I have a scheduled setup through Facebook Marketplace to dump off about 200,000 cards, most of which were from the first Goodwill lot, a lot from this one, and then just some other random boxes that I went through as a toss in. There's a bunch of plaques, like Green Bay Packers plaques that, if I don't sell them today, they're probably just going to go in a dollar box. And if they don't sell, I'm just going to toss them. So there's about 200,000 cards. So we're meeting this early afternoon. So hopefully a deal is made, and then that'll free up some room for another pallet. So that's the bulk sale today. And I actually started loading up some of the stuff to take upstairs, because now I've brought everything. So this is just, I'm playing a massive game of Tetris with cards this week. So I think I have a couple binders left in my car still that I haven't brought in because I cleaned. I didn't think I would be able to. You saw the mess on my rec room floor. I did the video earlier this week. I was going through some boxes. You saw the just mess. Like, I'm a messy person, and it gave me anxiety. I can't imagine if my wife saw it. She would have a fit. So I was able, before the cleaners came in, they actually came early yesterday. They came at like 11, but I was able to get that rec room cleaned. Fortunately, on Thursday night, I cleared a shelf space on one of the shelving units over here. So that's where all the unsorted stuff has gone. I mean, I still have over half of the Goodwill pallet boxes to go through. I don't think there's going to be any monster hits, but you never know. So that's why I'm going to look. So I got the whole rec room cleaned up, so they were able to vacuum and clean the rec room. So now that everything's in and somewhat has a place, now I'm going to move all of the commons that I'm selling hopefully today up into my car, and I'll take those and hopefully dump them off to the next guy. And then when I return home, I have all of my card show inventory on a counter in our hallway, and that will go back into my car for next Saturday's card show in Rockford. So it's like a game of Tetris and what's the Frogger? It's like Frogger and Tetris meet with all this rearranging of my cards. So let's get to the chat. Mark Wilkins, what's up? Good morning, Mark. Bo slept in later than I did this morning. Good morning, John. I was up pretty early. I was up at like 6:30 or 7. I didn't sleep well last night. I think it was the meat sweats because I ate every damn ounce of that ribeye last night. So good. And some mashed potatoes. And I had a few beers. So my sleep wasn't that great. So I did sleep in. I actually wanted to sleep in a little later than I did. I just kind of laid in bed and scrolled Twitter and scrolled Facebook and checked my eBay. I made some great sales overnight. I sold a lot of stuff. So I'm starting off with a great weekend. in eBay sales. Reading Diego's comment, did you buy a third lot? No, I did not. No third lot yet. As soon as one pops up, man, I am all in. All in. You heard AMC Theater will charge you more money. Watch Batman movie this week. Did not hear that. I am not a Marvel fan or Batman, Spider-Man. I don't watch any of those movies. The last Batman movie I saw was Michael Keaton back in 1989. That was the last Batman movie I watched. Some things you just rather have the buyer go forth. You made your profit, not grading cards to sell. Let the buyer make a little too. There you go. Pass it on. Pass it all along. What is up, Jenny? Let's see. Where are we at here? Steven's Cards. What's up, Steven's Cards? Good morning. Thanks for stopping in the chat. I can't afford cleaners, so I don't have to clean up my cards. Cleaners are allowed in the basement at my house. I'm sure they're curious what goes on down there. Not. Yeah. We had friends that came over like shortly after we moved into this house, and they like see this card room and they're like, what if it's just all a front? What if he has, and like they told, like they're like, we were talking about your card stuff, and what if it's like a front like Ozark? It's like, I'll tell you, it's not a front for anything other than selling pictures of men on cardboard. I'm like hesitant. So my wife and I talked about this when the last house we lived in, they broke and I think I still have it down here. I do. So my Jorge Soler bobblehead is broken from the last cleaning company that we had. And I like, God, they broke my bobblehead. And they've actually, I don't know if it was the other company or the current, but one of the cleaners broke a Chris Bryant bobblehead, dusting it. And it's like, and my wife's like, okay, you can have them not dust those shelves, but you have to do it. And I'm like, I'll take the risk. So fortunately, no other bobbleheads have been hurt. What's up, Matthew? Good morning. Let's see. Bo's not a Spider-Man guy. That's why we can't be best friends. Yep. I do not get into, I never did get into comic books or, I had some growing up, but I never really got into comic books. Never got into the Marvel stuff. I've got a friend lives down the street. He's like diehard Marvel, like posters and video games and movies and cards. He actually collects all the Marvel cards. And I told him, like, during the pandemic, I'm like, dude, right now is the time to move those. If you want to liquidate, sell those now. And he's like, damn it. Cause he's like, I only have one. He's like, I only have one set of each, because I sold everything. I sold all my like doubles, triples, quadruples, a few years ago. I should have waited. I'm like, yeah, you should have, because they've like skyrocketed in price. So I went on eBay. We were sitting on his back deck, and I'm like, okay, here's some of the sold. So here's how much they've sold for recently. He's like, holy shit. He's like, I sold them for like $5 or $10 a set. I'm like, yep, because he had like the early, like the 1991 set, 92. Jason, what's up? Good morning to you. I'm with you. I'm not a comic book guy, not a Star Wars geek either. The Simpsons is where it's at. Love The Simpsons. So now that I'm caught up, I should be able to get my Nostalgia Breaks 1990 Topps Simpsons break. Probably not today, just because I've got a lot of stuff going on. Wife comes home, but maybe tomorrow. Probably tomorrow morning, like right after I record Hobby Evolution, I'll do a nostalgia break and get that uploaded. So talked about my bulk card lot sale. I'll save steak for last. We'll go into spring training. So I've made the first step to solidify my trip to Arizona in actually just a few weeks now. So I host my Madison card show is at the Sheraton Hotel, which is a Marriott property, and I get points for booking the card shows. So it's like, well, and I'd never used Marriott points, because usually when I travel, like if I'm traveling on my own, like when I went to spring training 2 years ago, I'd stay in like the cheapest hotel because I don't care. Like I want to use that money to buy like baseball cards or uh, extra beer at the stadium because it's $10 or whatever. Or like the wives had like a garage sale at one of the games, so I bought some autographed photos and some game used stuff. So I like to have that extra money to use on fun stuff, not like a bed where I'm sleeping. I prefer no bed bugs. And somewhat clean. The last hotel I stayed in, it's like I might have to go up a notch. So it's like, well, now I have Marriott points. I'm going to check out the Marriott properties. Well, they're a little more expensive, especially in Arizona during spring training. But I ended up splurging, and I'm staying at a Marriott property to get those points. I'll just accumulate those points, and maybe next year at spring training and all my card show points will rack up, and I'll be able to save a bunch of money. So, in speaking of points, so with my business credit card, I haven't like I just don't touch. I just let the points accumulate, and it's like I was looking to see what I could use with the current points I have. So I went in, and it's like, oh, you can book flights using your points. So I checked it out, and I'm only going to do direct flight. I'll spend the extra couple $100 to have a direct flight and avoid a second airport. I want to hop on a plane and hop off. I don't want to deal with layovers and all that garbage of deplane. Oh my God. Don't get me started on the whole deplaning process or waiting to get a seat to just sit and wait longer. So gonna splurge with the direct flight. I went through my points through my credit card, and I can knock off like $200 on my flight, which is basically like half price. So now it got me thinking. It's like, well, shoot, I'm planning on putting another big order into BCW. I should just do that now and get those points and knock off even more money to use those towards my flight. So I have not booked my flight yet. I've been monitoring tickets, in the flight tickets for what I'm looking at. They've been bouncing like up and down. It's crazy. Like usually I just like I'm very spontaneous. Like I'm going to spring training. I'm going to book the flight right now. I've never really shopped for flights. I just like, okay, I'm going. I need to book my flight. Here we go. Now I've been shopping for like a month and a half, maybe longer. And they've ranged anywhere, and this is for a direct flight, Madison to Phoenix, anywhere from like, I think the cheapest was like $495, and the most expensive it was like $750. Same exact flight. Has ranged in price that long. Yeah, getting points for the show is a nice perk when they mention that, because I had to basically renegotiate for 2022, and so my former co-promoter, he left last summer, moved to Texas, so he had handled the negotiations when we started the show last March, April. So it was a first for me dealing with the hotel, with the venue. And she's like, yeah, do you have a Marriott whatever? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, get one, because I'll apply points to your account. And I'm like, oh, sweet bonus. Who are you seeing at spring training? The Iowa Cubs. Yeah, it's gonna be the Iowa Cubs. It's gonna be the Tennessee Smokies. It's gonna be the South Bend Cubs, the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. That's who I'll be seeing, unless baseball gets a deal. It sounded like they made a little headway. They actually had more conversation this week than I expected after the deadline. It sounds like the Players Association is willing to put like the 14 game or 14 team playoff back on the table in exchange for work with us on these things. So sounds like they're making some progress, albeit slower than what we would like. We want baseball to start now. We want the guys to get to spring training now and get baseball underway. But I think the games, the major league games, they're like canceled through like March 8th. So if they strike a deal now, the earliest major league game would occur like March 19th, I think. So I'm still holding out hope. I'm still holding out hope that by March. So my flight will be the 22nd. I'll arrive that Tuesday morning, March 22nd in Phoenix. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna go back. I missed a couple comments. Da, 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 da. Working on earning my Marriott Bonvoy status. Now I'm a Hilton Diamond Kryptonite Plutonium. That's a mouthful. Matt says, I caught your interview with Ty on Sunday. Great ideas that I have applied to my eBay best sales week of 2022. That is awesome. That is awesome. I love that, Matt. Thank you so much for watching and jumping in and sharing that. That is so cool. I love to hear stories like that. Bo was so spontaneous, he will tell us March 19th that he booked his plan right before the 7 a.m. show and he leaves at noon. Not quite that spontaneous. Not quite that spontaneous. You can fly direct from Madison. Yes. So, John, so we have I think 18 direct flights from Madison because we have a huge company here called Epic. And Epic makes like all of the hospital software, like all of the computer software that's in hospitals, like pretty much I can't remember the number. It's like 70% of hospitals in the United States use their software. It's called Epic Systems. It's actually just down the road from me. It's an very impressive campus. And the owner of Epic, she created it like basically from her house in like the 80s, and now it's like $1 billion company or multi-million. I don't know what it's worth, but she's very eclectic. So the buildings are a lot of it's. I think she's a big Harry Potter fan. So there's like the buildings are tailored to Harry Potter, and there's just a bunch of just random. I don't know if there's a Star Wars one, but it's very eclectic. It's very impressive. So it employs like 40,000 or 50,000 employees. So they and most of them, fly in, fly out. So there's like so you'll go on like to the Madison and Madison Airport's tiny in terms of comparing it to Minneapolis, Dallas, Chicago. But you'll go in, it's like, wow, it's all the Epic people. So there's direct flights, Phoenix, San Francisco, Vegas, let's see, Tampa. I don't think Miami because my wife has to hop on. She has a connecting flight because she goes to the Miami area. Let's see where else. But there's a ton. I think there's a direct flight to Philly. Because I was looking up flights for the national for this year. But yeah, there's I think 18. There's 18 direct flights from Madison, and that's mainly because of not just Epic, but Madison's like a hub for startups. There's a lot of startups here in Madison. Seattle's another one. So a lot of tech. Anywhere there's tech, there's basically a nonstop flight from Madison. Southwest Airlines credit card. I fly all over the U.S. for $11. Best airline program. That's awesome. I don't think we have Southwest in Madison. So, but I know Southwest is like the best airline. Rome Braves are awesome. That's the problem with Southwest. You have to fly all over the country to get anywhere. Yeah, that's true. Just Googled Judith Faulkner, $3 billion company. Okay, so yeah, $3 billion company. Impressive. Yeah, it's take a look if you're still on there. Check out like the images from the Epic Systems campus. It's an amazing because I ride when I ride my bike, I usually am in that area. Actually, sometimes when I go, like if I bike south, I'll ride right through the campus. And then there's a bike trail that goes kind of butts up against the Epic campus as well. So, and I use that trail a lot. So yeah, it's her story's her story is epic. Her story is epic. It's just it's an amazing campus. And so I live nearby. I used to live closer. We live a couple miles further out now, but the main artery from Epic to the hotels here on the west side of Madison, Middleton, when everybody comes in, like once a year, they have a campus wide like retreat at the camp at Epic, and reminds me of a tinier version of Apple's campus. Yeah, yeah. Um, so they'll have just buses after buses of people, because there's 40,000 employees, and they're all staying on this side of town and busing in, and it's crazy. It's epic. So spring training is a go. Hotel is booked, and still shopping for airline tickets. So later this month, hopefully Major League Baseball gets a deal. If not, I'm still going to enjoy my time on the backfields, see my buddy Rich. Rich is an awesome photographer, and you might follow him on Twitter, Rich Biesterfeld. And in fact, he's got at least 3 photos that he's taken that have been or will be on baseball cards. So the first one was Jordan Wicks from, I think it was Onyx Vintage, that came out this past fall. That was his first card. And then Topps bought 2 of his Christian Hernandez photos. So at some point, likely a Bowman product, the Christian Hernandez cards will be photos by Rich. Awesome dude. We met 2 years ago out there on the backfields, and we just hung out like the whole morning at the backfields, watching minor league games. He's snapping photos. I'm doing videos and photos for social media. So it's a whole lot of fun. How much is a spring training game ticket? Will they charge the same with no major leaguers? So that's a great question. So spring training tickets are actually quite expensive. The cheapest ticket and this was in 2020, when I went right before the pandemic shut it down. The cheapest ticket at Sloan Park for a Cubs game was $35, and that was not a seat. That was sitting on the grass in the outfield. $35 for a grass seat on the berm. I went to the first game I went to was out in Surprise at the Texas Rangers facility, and those tickets were somewhat much cheaper. I actually, as I was walking in, a guy came up to me and he's like, "Hey, do you need a ticket?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, $5. And it was a berm seat. I think the ticket price was 10. So $35 at Sloan for the Cubs, $10 for the Texas Rangers out in Surprise. I believe the minor league games are free. I don't think so. When I was out there in 2020, and I've only been out there once, and that was 2 years ago. So I was out there before the full minor league roster had reported, because I was out there early. So I went out there like February 26th or 7th. So I was there for like 5 or 6 days from the end of February into early March. And only about half of the minor leaguers had reported. So they weren't actually playing minor league games until later. And then I think they play the minor league games in the minor league complex, which is on the other side of where the main stadium is at Sloan. It's a cool setup. But they will not charge for I'm pretty sure they don't charge for the minor league games. Definitely going to a lot of minor league games here in Georgia, if no Atlanta Braves games. Yeah, I have the Beloit Snappers, which is about an hour away from me. Love it when the South Bend Cubs are in town. So I'll hit probably more than usual. They've got a new stadium now. It's pretty nice. It's not as nice for autographs. The old stadium, which looked like something straight out of a league of their own. The stadium looked like it was 100 years old. It probably was. So they were basically like baseball said, if you don't build a new stadium, you're not going to have a team anymore. So the owner of it's a ABC Supply, I believe, is the company. And I believe that's another woman-owned business. And she fronted the money, like most of the money, for ABC Supply Stadium, which is on the Rock River in Rockford. And it's a nice minor league stadium, and it saved organized professional baseball in Beloit, Wisconsin. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I really enjoy, like, looking back from my time at spring training 2 years ago, that's what I enjoyed the most, was the weather and baseball in February and March, and hanging out with like-minded people that also enjoyed minor league baseball and watching the prospects and the stars of tomorrow. And it's basically like if you're into like if you have kids or family that play travel softball, travel baseball, they have the complexes where it's the center with four diamonds around, and that's basically what the minor league complex is. There's four diamonds, the backfields they call it, and they'll have players over, like the catchers are on this diamond, and the outfielders are over here, the pitchers are over here, BP's over on the other diamond. And then when they switch, they'll like walk right through and they'll sign autographs, and it's really cool. I really enjoy it, so I can't wait. Looking forward to getting out there. So spring training, and the final topic I wanted to touch on was steaks. So I had my last bachelor supper as my wife comes home today. I'm like, I'm gonna get a fat ribeye steak. I was at the grocery store Thursday night, and I was just gonna get like a random like New York strip or something like that. But it's like I saw these ribeyes, and normally I'm not much of a ribeye fan, which I know that sounds like anti-American, but I saw these cuts of ribeye, and it's like, man, these are beautiful. These look delicious. So I bought one, 18 ounce, a big hoss, and yesterday morning, it's like, now this is the perk from working from home. You can like prepare dinner during the day. Like, okay, I'm going to fix some breakfast. Hey, I'm going to look up marinade recipes. And I know there was some blowback from people on Twitter. Like, how dare you season or marinate a ribeye? You shouldn't have to marinate a great cut of steak like that. So here's the thing, and I totally would, before yesterday, agreed with you. Like, the ribeyes have so much flavor, you don't need to marinate them. But I'm glad I did. It was arguably the best steak I've ever had. Definitely up there. And what I did was, so I had a mix of, so I did a dry rub first, brown sugar, salt, and pepper. And not too much. I think it was like a teaspoon on, half a teaspoon on each side. And then filleted no marinate, ribeye gets the treatment. So it was, salt, pepper, brown sugar, and just a little bit of Lowry's seasoning, because that's all I had. I think I had some Penzeys, if you're familiar with Penzeys, but I used the Lowry's. So I rubbed that in, and then I took, let's see, was it half a tablespoon on each side of Worcestershire sauce. And then I rubbed that in, wrapped it in plastic, put it in the fridge for about 4 hours, let it sit on the counter to get back to room temperature for almost an hour. I was going to do it for 30 minutes, but it was still pretty cold to the touch. So I let it wait for another 15 minutes, fired up the grill. Grill was running at about 400 to 450, 5 minutes on each side. And it was rare to medium rare. I think John might've said rare plus, on Twitter. And it turned out, my God, it was one of the best steaks I've ever had. I had never marinated a ribeye before, so I wanted to try it. Like, I understand people say you don't need to marinate it, but I did, and I loved it, and I would do it again. I've marinated in plain old Italian salad dressing. That's interesting. Have you done that with what cut? Ribeye or fillet? That's interesting. So, and it was my first grill of the season as well. March 4th, first grill of the season. Just because there's been some days where it's like, it's been nice enough. Although it was chilly last night, it was pretty cold. But the snow's melted. So, I didn't want to, shovel snow to get to my grill. So that's why I waited until March, cold and snowy. So I would do it again. I would marinate a ribeye again. It was that good. So that's what I had for today. A little bit of everything, a little bit of card talk, a little bit of baseball spring training talk, a little bit of meat talk. Delmonico, same as a ribeye, used to do it for Eagles tailgates. Oh, very cool. Um, so that's what I had for today. Um, Great night of sales on eBay. I did do some file exchange yesterday. Yesterday I was super productive. Man, I marinated a steak. I got my house cleaned to get cleaned by the cleaners who came over. I got all of my second wave of Goodwill stuff put away, and I was able to list almost 200 cards, I think, yesterday, which was needed. I need to get up to 11,000 active listings. I'm hovering around 10,000. I dropped down to like 10,500. And then I think I got back up to like 10,700 last night. And then I sold a bunch more cards. So um, maybe today I've got a lot of shipping now. So and then the bulk sale. So I don't know how much I'll get to today, but with file exchange, it's super easy to list in bulk quickly. Like I can hammer out, 28. You fit 28 images on a page on Image Shack. I can hammer out 28 listings in like 15 minutes. If I don't have to comp, if I know the price of all 28 cards, boom, boom, boom. It's pretty easy. So I can hammer out like 50 some in a half an hour and get like 120 in an hour. So with as long as I have everything, if I have a stack of cards and I don't have to comp or anything like that. So that's the plan. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Saturday. If you're going to a card show, enjoy. And let me know tomorrow morning. I'm not hitting a card show today. I know there's a couple in the area. I know up in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, there's a card show today. There's also a card show today in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, which is Milwaukee. So I've got some friends going to those shows. Rick, hit the like button. BSS Cards, love your videos. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And yeah, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Card show in Indy for me today. Oh, nice. Very cool. So let me know how that goes. If anybody else is at a card show, let me know how it goes. Oh, I know Syracuse, New York has a show tomorrow. I know John Newman's going to be there. DR is going to be there. So hopefully they have a good day tomorrow. Have a great weekend. I will be on tomorrow live, probably similar time, 8:30ish Central Time. So we'll chat tomorrow and have a great Saturday.